Broadcasting live from Blockbuster Video, this is Pop Culture Reference, your one-stop reference for all things pop culture. I'm one of your hosts, Garrett Strother.
I'm one of your other hosts, Seamus Connolly.
It's me, Ricardo, CEO of Hollywood Video. Hello.
oh, I miss Hollywood Video so much, truly.
The one I used to go to is an AutoZone now.
Did we used to go to the same Hollywood Video, or did AutoZone just, buy out Hollywood Video?
It's interesting. You think about how, Family Videos and Hollywood Videos and all those buildings are set up, and they really do already look like garages.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that seems like a match made in heaven to me.
Oh, R.I.P. Hollywood Video. But not R.I.P. Blockbuster, which is kind of still going.
Speaking of R.I.Ps... a great loss yesterday when we were recording, not yesterday when this is coming out. Jessica Walter, best known for her role as Lucille Bluth on Arrested Development and who on Archer? I can't remember her character's name on Archer.
Mallory Archer.
She was also in that 1970s Doctor Strange TV movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, she passed away in her sleep at age 80. Leaving behind a legacy of gifts that will never die.
Man, this one... I think like you were about to say, Shane, this one really hits. She's an icon, man. She's absolutely hilarious in the role she's been in. Proven by, like you said, all the gifts of her that are out there.
Yeah, she is, very easily, usually the best character in any show she's in. And, I mean, obviously, the two that you mentioned, Arrested Development and Archer, she plays the same character of just a very emotionally abusive alcoholic matriarch, and I don't know. Yeah, you're right, Ricardo. It really does hit hard because she was just always so funny for the cruelty in her roles that she's famous for.
Do you guys have a favorite Lucille line?
You can't beat the Gene Parmesan scream. Just the screech of excitement that she displays during those are so good.
Yeah, I always love that bit because it's the one time she shows any bit of humanity. Just the pure joy on her face. Oh my god, it's Gene Parmesan.
Or, I mean, the ever classic "Go see a Star War," I quote daily, is great.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Oh, I say it all the time, Seamus.
I don't care for Job is one that sticks with me for some reason. I love all my children equally. An hour earlier. I don't care for Job.
The cutaway, deadpan. Oh, man. Yeah, she was a... Icon is the right word. She's going to be remembered forever for her roles. And I mean, now there's kind of a weird place that... I mean, Archer is ongoing, and there's been talks about an Arrested Development movie for a decade, and
mm-hmm.
She's such an integral part of both of them. I'm not sure how they're going to move forward.
Yeah. I've got the first 3 seasons on DVD. I'm good.
Yeah, that's fair. I didn't even finish. I might go watch the second part of the last Netflix season because I never got around to it. Even though, it was pretty decent compared to the debacle that is the original season 4, but yeah, I don't know.
I think after the Arrested Development comeback was so poorly received already, and that combined with everything going on with Jeffrey Tambor, I think this is the final nail in the coffin for us seeing any more Arrested Development, which is fine with me.
In regards to Archer, I think that's the only one I think could probably still continue on, because I think from a character point of view, for anyone that doesn't watch for anyone that doesn't watch Archer, the titular character Archer has this really weird relationship with his mother, and now that that's gone and they can't really do that anymore, I think that'd be interesting at the very least to see where they go with that. Archer having to come to terms with the death of his mother. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Yeah, I was thinking this. I was thinking the same thing for sure. It's going forward. It's going to be weird, but probably how they did it when the voice actor for Woodhouse passed in Archer. they kind of like dedicated like kind of a very heartfelt goodbye through their first dream season, and I don't know, they might try to pull something off like that for Jessica Walter as well.
Really sad. R.I.P. Truly a legend.
Absolutely. In other news, we've got something that we've seen coming long time on the horizon, which is Disney has completely reshuffled their release slate, which means that over the next couple weeks we're just going to see everybody scrambling to respond to that, including Black Widow being pushed a full 2 months to July. And not only that, but they are abandoning their only in theaters promise, where it's going to have now Disney Plus Premier access.
Who are you fooling, Disney? This was always how it was going to go.
They were trying to fool themselves, ultimately, I think. But, you know, they're trying their Premier access again. Is there any word? Is it going to be, like, the same price point and details as it was with Mulan?
They haven't said yet. I cannot imagine that they're going to lower that price point for a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
They already did it again with Raya.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. So, it's consistent now. They've kind of set the trend. I don't see that lowering, but also they're probably counting on the fact that by July, most people will be willing to go to movies, I think, because vaccine rollout's really picking up steam now. But it's taking the place of Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, which does not have a new release date as of yet. They've also pushed, The King's Man and some of their other, like, Fox properties even further. So, I mean, you guys made a joke about how Black Widow was the new New Mutants, but The King's Man was originally supposed to come out in, like, November 2019.
God, yeah.
And so it just keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed because it got delayed for reshoots, then it got delayed for the Fox acquisition, then it got delayed because of COVID, then it got delayed because of COVID again. And so now it's just like, that's the movie that I'm feeling like is really never going to come out. And then finally, Luca, Disney Pixar's Luca, is moving exclusively to Disney Plus in a very Soul-esque move.
I mean, I guess I'm just glad that it's not behind any kind of Premier access. I am looking forward to Luca. I mean, it looks like a very fun time, and yeah, I guess I am getting my vaccine soon, but I'm still kind of chilling with the straight to streaming for a little bit longer. So this is nice.
Me too. Yeah. And then 2 other release date changes / announcements. Spiral from the Book of Saw, a movie I'm sure we're all hyped out of our minds about, is coming May 14th, and The Mitchells vs. the Machines, the animated film from Phil Lord and Chris Miller that we've talked about several times on the podcast before, is getting its release April 30th. So I'm looking forward to seeing one of those 2 movies.
Yeah, so we're doing the full Saw rewatch, right?
Yeah, baby.
Back to back to back. There's like 7 or 8 of them. Only the first 2 are good.
The only noise complaint my room got when I was a freshman in college the entire year was a weekend I was away. My roommates all decided to watch the entirety of the Saw franchise straight through overnight, and they got written up at like 3 a.m.
Yeah, like I make jokes. I could not sit through that much. Just like buckets of blood and gore, just all gratuity.
Spiral's interesting in it that it's Chris Rock, weirdly, and he's like,
wait, what?
Like behind the reason this movie's even coming out is because of Chris Rock.
Mm-hmm.
He is the new like Jigsaw guy?
No, he's like a cop in this one.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
But yeah, apparently Chris Rock loves Saw.
That is very strange, but I kind of want to see it more now.
This transition doesn't really make sense, but speaking of like weird horror movies and guns, Resident Evil. The reboot of the film franchise is coming out, and it finally has its release date of September 3rd, 2021. It's called Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, and it's going to adapt the first 2 Resident Evil games.
Yeah, I'm still skeptical about this one. I think it's still like the same team behind the Mila Jovovich train wreck of a Resident Evil film franchise, and
Oh, it is?
I think, isn't that what I heard? Isn't it the same team? Or am I thinking of the other rumor about, like, a series?
I am not an expert. I do not know. I'm looking forward to playing the first 2 Resident Evil games at some point before September 3rd. But that's really what I got for you. I don't know.
That's soon. This is like the first I'm hearing of it.
Yeah, because there were talks for a while, like months ago, about like, is it going to be a series? There was talks about like a Netflix series being developed, and I don't know if this is what came of that or if this is just a completely different project. But the first 2 games, if they're done in a faithful way, could lead to some really cool stuff. And the first 2 games are actually like very separated by like a good amount of time, and it's like in like a different place, so it'll be interesting to see them kind of weave those 2 stories together a little more fluidly instead of like having more of a separate sequel coming down the pike.
I'll be interested to see how it plays out and compare it to the games. There's a remaster of Resident Evil 2, or like a remake, right?
Yes, the Resident Evil 2 remake was fire, and there's also a GameCube remake of Resident Evil 1 that is very good, but very hard, because it's like original tank controls and fixed camera angles, but it's very worth it.
Perfect, I'll play it on my Wii. It'll be great.
Yes.
And then we've got just a slew of DC stuff to talk about. Some casting. Pierce Brosnan is going to be Dr. Fate in the Black Adam movie alongside The Rock, and Billy Crudup is getting replaced as Barry Allen's dad in the Flash movie by Ron Livingston. So, if you could come in on Saturday and be the Flash's dad, that'd be great.
But like, why though? Why are they switching out Flash's dad?
Billy Crudup has no interest in doing it. So,
you know what? Fair.
All right, I guess that makes sense.
I wouldn't either if I were Billy Crudup, who I've really come around on lately. I used to really not like Billy Crudup, but after seeing him in The Morning Show and a recent rewatch of Mission Impossible 3, I'm a Crudup man now. I'm about it.
No kidding. Alrighty.
But then we've also got I kind of wish we talked about this on the show a couple weeks ago, just so I could like Babe Ruth pointed to where I was gonna hit the ball. But promising young woman director and I think Academy Award nominee now, Emerald Fennell, is going to direct DC's Zatanna film, the magician superhero lady. So we haven't gotten any casting on her yet, but this is very similar to a conversation that we had before the show a couple weeks ago about the kind of director they were probably going to try to get for this film.
Yeah, man, you really did snipe that from like a mile away. I'm sure I'm still interested in the Zatanna stuff since I know so little, and this little piece of information here makes me more excited. I mean, Promising Young Woman was like pretty well received, was it not?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it was a little divisive, but yes, generally very well received.
Oh, right on. And then we've got one last piece of DC news. Just this morning, on the date of our recording, the Red Band trailer for The Suicide Squad came out. What did you guys think of that?
It looks pretty good to me. I mean, it's got that classic James Gunn sleazy charm to it,
Yeah, I feel that coming through. You get to see Sharkman really messing people up in the trailer. I like that.
That is King Shark. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I was going to say, Seamus, what are you talking about?
King Shark. Excuse me. I was more of saying that.
You're a fool, Seamus.
It was a descriptor. I didn't think his name was Sharkman. He is a Sharkman.
Okay, sure. Next thing you know, he's going to be talking about Victor Crumb from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Oh, wow. What a weird pull. Jesus.
Am I wrong, though? Does he not look like Victor Crumb from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire?
No, you're really not.
King Shark?
Yeah, do you know... Seamus and I are obviously aware of the fact that in the second task from the Triwizard Tournament, Ricardo, the way that Victor Crumb is able to navigate the lake and save Hermione, as he would call her, is because he is an animagus and can transform into a shark man.
Yeah, he's a shark boy.
When are we doing Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
Didn't we kinda already?
We kind of already did. Okay, we're getting off topic. The Suicide Squad trailer. Ricardo, I want to know what you thought of King Shark absolutely tearing guys in half.
Yes.
I was already excited for this movie. This just solidifies it because I get to see more of it. Hell yeah, man. 100% on board. We got Starro in this mother.
Yeah, and like John Cena's there too, and I like want to see more of him. Weirdly, like I never really put John Cena as like top of my acting list, but he looks like he's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, he looks really funny in this.
Yeah, he really does. And our boy Polka Dot Man, I forget his name, but he's amazing.
The Baba Yaga guy.
Yeah, he's the best. He looks like he's gonna be some creepy fun too, because he kind of always is like a creepy fun character.
And I mean, we've got James Gunn pulling some music, of course, as he loves to do. We've got Dirty Work going in the background of this trailer, and I am just absolutely jamming to it.
Hell yeah, if I wasn't excited before, I really am now. And
we get more Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I still like her Harley Quinn. I have no problem with it, besides that it's in...
Well, I never said I had a problem.
Well, no, but, like, that character is generally in bad movies, so it's hard to, like...
Exclusively in bad movies, yeah. I think is what you meant to say.
I guess so.
Birds of Prey was fine.
I think it might have been less than fine.
I think it was a valiant attempt at something more than fine, but did not meet the bar it was setting for itself. Which is more than I can say for most DC movies, so...
Yeah, that's fair. But this, I'm excited to see her again in the hands of a director who might know how to have some, like, actual chaotic fun. I mean, that's really what this trailer was, is chaotic fun. Yeah, it looks funny.
I really liked her in this.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm excited for us to talk about that on the show. I mean, it's inevitably going to get pushed, but it's supposed to come out August 6th. Who knows if that's when it will actually come out, but I'm excited.
Well, it's doing the whole HBO Max thing.
Yes, but I mean, still, I think the wake of Disney's shuffling might not even the HBO Max stuff be safe from that. You know? I'm just curious. I mean, like, I think it is more secure than most of the other things. But I mean, we should have talked about this at the top of the show. But like, we were supposed to do Godzilla vs. Kong this week, and that got delayed like 5 days for some reason.
Yeah, that was weird. That was very sudden.
So, I mean, that's fine because we're going to talk about it next week. But I'm just saying, I think there's definitely still room for stuff to get moved around, even though it's coming to HBO Max. But speaking of things coming to HBO Max, transitions, the New Zealand What We Do in the Shadows adjacent series, Wellington Paranormal, from the minds of Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi, is coming to the United States on the CW and streaming on HBO Max.
Hell yeah, I love those shows. I loved the What We Do in the Shadows movie. Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi are just... like comedy gods. Like, they get me every single time. I'm gonna watch this. Like, there's nothing stopping me. They always satisfy. Just like goofy and creepy and wonderful. I want more shows, more movies.
Yeah, man, I love this franchise. The FX show on right now, I think is one of the funniest things on TV at the moment. I think this will be a good pair up with that.
Totally. I've only seen that first season of the show, but it just like put me on the floor every time. It's so good.
I don't have a transition for this one. In other TV news, there is a National Treasure TV series coming to Disney Plus with a new diverse crew of treasure hunters in their 20s with a Latina lead. The series has gotten a 10-episode order at Disney Plus and is going to be directed by Indian filmmaker Mira Nair.
Oh, wait, they're all going to be 20-somethings?
Well, that's what the press release from Disney said. I mean, I can imagine that it'll probably be, a mix of, older and younger folks.
Oh, no. They're going to be TikToking archaeology? Are we Instagramming the Declaration of Independence?
There's a QR code on the back of the Constitution. But no, don't fret, guys, because this is not replacing the National Treasure 3 rumors that we've already heard about. This is happening in addition to National Treasure 3.
Oh.
It's the Marvel method. Movies and shows can coexist.
I like it.
Well, it makes me wonder if we are going to get some like crossover between the show and the movie. I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage would do it.
I mean, if Nick Cage doesn't make any appearances, like, that would be totally whack. I'm sure they're going to be like... It's going to be like the Avengers. It really is going to be like Marvel. The series finale is going to be like Nick Cage slow clapping after they find the treasure. And it's like, I'm putting together a team. I need you. It's going to be great.
And then him, a frozen Indiana Jones, Laura Croft, and Nathan Drake team up.
The best movie of all time. 4 characters doing the exact same thing 4 times in a row. That's true.
Here's the thing, though. They're all different levels of sleazy, because Ben Gates has like a genuine reverence for history and culture, and he wants to share it with the world. And Indiana Jones like thinks he's that, but he definitely is not. Like, he thinks he's an archaeologist when he's really just a grave robber.
Who also dates, like, 13-year-olds?
Yeah, we'll not talk about that. We'll save that for when we do our Raiders episode.
Okay, good.
And then we've got Laura Croft, who is kind of in the same boat as Indiana Jones, but she doesn't really pretend to be an archaeologist, but she does pretend to, like, study things. And then we've got Nathan Drake, no holds barred. He's just like, yeah, I'm here to steal the treasure and leave.
All the games are called like A Thief's End, Honor Among Thieves, Drake's Deception. Like, it was never a question. It was always on Front Street.
Yeah, he's always a jerk, but he's always so likable you don't care. It's perfect.
It's the Mal Reynolds method, to be honest. But we're gonna get to that in a few weeks with our Firefly episode.
Oh yes.
And speaking of Uncharted on the PS3, hey, I'm really rolling with them today, boys. The PlayStation stores on the PlayStation 3, PlayStation Portable, and PlayStation Vita are going to be permanently deleted. Let me double check a date on that, because I don't want...
Yeah, I don't know the exact date, but I do know it's going to be sometime over the summer.
We want to make sure we're going to grab those digital-only games that are on there.
Yeah, man, I need a bigger card for my Vita so I can keep my Persona 4 going. I'll be very sad if I lose that.
I can't tell if we're joking or not, because I actually do have 2 games that I want to get before this whole thing shuts down.
Oh, I am not kidding at all. I really can't find a date. It's just saying this summer. So what games are you gonna cop, Ricardo?
Well, since most PS3 games that have been really popular and really good, I think, have been all ported over to the PS4. The ones I'm after are, way back in the day, they came out with a Sly Cooper Collection remaster that I do not own because I had the PS2 games. But now I want that and the 4th one together. So that's what I'm after.
So those are digital only?
They weren't, but I think finding a physical copy of the Sly Collection remaster, I think, is really hard. And it's way cheaper to just get it digitally. So that's probably what I'm going to do before the summer hits.
Oh, okay. Well, make sure you get those Uncharted 3 dynamic themes up on all your systems. Get those, I don't know. If you get the Metal Gear Solid PS3 collection, which I did at Seamus's behest over the winter, make sure that you redeem your digital code for the original Metal Gear Solid and VR missions.
Please do that. Very, very important.
I can't think of anything else. Call of Duty Zombies DLC, if anybody's not just playing the remasters on Black Ops 3, I guess.
Yeah, that's if you're keeping it old school. All those expensive-ass PlayStation Vita games. Like, I guess they're only expensive if they're physical copies, which they're only going to be now, so get all that stuff downloaded too.
Seamus, I want you to tell the world why you own a Vita.
Well, I sold my 3DS to buy one, which was maybe a mistake.
Definitely a mistake, but also, does Nintendo DS have Uncharted on it? I don't think so.
And it only has one Metal Gear Solid, so I was like, what am I doing here? I need my PlayStation rep. Little did I know, Sony never gave a damn about the PS Vita and abandoned it almost immediately, so...
Yeah. Which, honestly, I'm really surprised that they've not just ported Golden Abyss to be, like, $10 on the PlayStation Store for, like, PS4 and PS5.
I assume that probably has something to do with their other failed experiment, the PlayStation TV micro console that plays Vita games on a TV.
But it doesn't play Golden Abyss. Golden Abyss is one of the non-compatible PlayStation TV Vita games.
What?
Yeah.
That is absolutely garbage. What the hell?
Because I was looking into getting a PlayStation TV, and I was
Christ.
like, well, it doesn't play Golden Abyss, which is one of the 2 games I would probably play on my PlayStation TV, so...
Wow, that sucks. If Sony, if they ever do decide to do another portable console, I really hope they put more effort into it, truly.
Alright, well, we'll keep you guys updated on that when we get an official date, and probably PSN. It's not looking good for the free PSN Online on PS3.
That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so fingers crossed, boys. I know you guys all want to play Battlefield 2.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. But I think that's it for news, so should we move on to our main segment, The Last Blockbuster?
I'm so ready.
Let's do it. This episode should be put on a VHS.
Making no sense, but I'd love it.
Well, we actually talked about the trailer for this one a few months ago, and we were all pretty excited to see it, and when Godzilla vs. Kong, I keep calling it Kong and Godzilla, because it's clear where my priorities are, obviously, so... when that got pushed, we decided to fill that gap with The Last Blockbuster, a movie where you're already hyped to see, and you can stream on Netflix.
Now, isn't that ironic?
Truly.
Is it? I'm asking.
Oh, it most certainly is, considering how much they really talk about Netflix in this documentary. I guess you can't do a blockbuster documentary without talking about Netflix.
But I also really appreciated how much and how adamant they were about, like, Netflix is not the sole reason that Blockbuster went under. It was a combination of a lot of things.
It's a big one, but it's not like the only one.
Exactly.
Man, I mean, are there spoilers for a documentary? This is just real life. Do we just, dive into whatever?
You can't spoil a documentary.
Yeah, I think we just talk about whatever.
Alright, that's what I'm thinking.
I mean, but general thoughts. Hit us with general thoughts about the style of the documentary, what you learned,
Oh, big right up top. Maybe we'll get into this too. I really like this documentary, and I really love Lauren Lapkus, except for when she's doing this voiceover for this documentary.
Right?
You weren't a fan of the super bubbly...
Oh, dude. I was straight up going between getting teary-eyed thinking about my childhood Blockbuster to being cringing at Lauren Lapkus' voiceover. It was really getting me.
I felt like I was watching a Vox video, especially because they needed it so infrequently that it was like, why didn't we just cut this all together, guys?
Just make it text on the screen at that point, man. I'll just make it blue and yellow font and it'll be perfect.
Because Lauren Lapkus is charming, Seamus.
I would have rather seen her interviewed, they didn't interview her once, get her thoughts on Blockbuster. She just got, hired to do this documentary.
I will say this. I was... Usually in a documentary like this, I'm really taken out by celebrity interviews. That doesn't usually interest me. But I think that the variety of celebrities that they got and their varying relevances to Blockbuster as a brand actually really helped strengthen this documentary and kind of give some credence to how much it touched not just the film industry, but just people in general.
They got Obi-Wan.
They really did.
Yeah, James Arnold Taylor. Oh, he really likes his Obi-Wan stuff. Do you think he has that around usually, or is that to be like, people need to remember who I am real quick?
Maybe both.
'Cause like I'm a hardcore dork, and I, instantly knew what was up. But
Oh, of course, yeah, of course.
also a lot of other fun faces. Ron Funches, who always makes me giggle. He's great. He's kind of like the lower level of involvement, where he's like just a guy who loved Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Jamie Kennedy, like schlubby looking Jamie Kennedy, reminiscing about the golden days.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell it was Jamie Kennedy at first. I thought it was Christian Slater from Mr. Robot.
Were you guys also blown away by the revelation that Jamie Kennedy was like a Blockbuster spokesperson, or this weird...
With Jim Gaffigan, too, somehow?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this weird Power Rangers or Burger King Kids Club of Blockbuster, where they would go to openings.
I would have totally been into that. That's awesome to me.
Yeah, I think that's incredible. That revelation, I was like, why is it Jim Gaffigan in this documentary?
That's a different documentary. Get that crew back together.
Doug Benson, who I normally cannot stand, I actually thought was kind of funny in this documentary.
Yeah, he can, he can get a little much after a while, but he was a cute little funny boy, just giggling at his own movies at Blockbuster, tricking Kumail Nanjiani into texting him for the movie.
You get Kevin Smith, because of course Kevin Smith would be here.
Yeah. I mean, he loves movies. He is a cinephile, and I mean, his most famous movie is half about a video store. So how could he not be in this doc? And I mean, Kevin Smith, I think, is a very interesting pop cultural figure, but I do really have an affinity for him. Because I think he is a person that has retained self-awareness and is just very content to be him. And he's not trying to be like some major Hollywood director, and he's well aware of the fact that he peaked in relevancy 20 years ago. And so now he's just like, I'm just going to be here, and I'm going to be famous, and I'm going to do stuff for IMDb at Comic-Con.
Yeah, man. It's whatever. He's just like a dude. Say what you want about the quality of his movies. I do just like hearing him talk, which is why I think podcasting has taken off for him so much. Just because I used to watch the old, like, An Evening with Kevin Smith specials, like when they were on Netflix.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and hearing him wax specifically about Blockbuster and there was that bit where they're all opening up like the big plasticky clamshell VHS case, and just like he seems like somebody who could appreciate that more than most, I guess. And I don't know, I've always liked Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith's a good guy. There's only one or two of his movies that I don't really care for, but I want to see that Walrus movie. I haven't seen that yet.
Sure. Tusk.
Go to Blockbuster and rent that one. They're still getting new movies. That was a weird part to like the process of them going to like Target to buy new releases. That's wild.
It was so weird to see like Endgame and Ready or Not on the store shelves at Blockbuster. I was like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel. Don't forget about Captain Marvel.
Oh, they had a ball with Captain Marvel.
They really did. I'm sure that the doc makers, when they saw that trailer, were like, yo, it's going to help our movie.
Oh, I'm sure.
I think Dark Horse, the best interview in this was maybe Sam Levine, who had so much passion and like really insightful thoughts about the nature of Blockbuster as a cultural institution.
Yeah, it was great to see him, for sure. He knew what he was talking about. You could tell that passion was from a place of like intimate personal knowledge, and I appreciated that a lot.
What was the name of the trauma guy? The insane old man?
Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, the Toxic Avenger guy. Yeah.
That psychopath.
Dude, I love that guy. That guy was hilarious. One of my favorite parts. He's so good. He's so funny. Oh man.
That guy seems like he'd be insufferable to talk to.
Let me pull up his name real quick because I want to make sure we're getting it right. Oh, yeah, Lloyd Kaufman. Lloyd Kaufman is his name.
Lloyd Kaufman, yeah, just like arguing with introducing himself. Like, why do you want to know? Who's asking? It's insane.
You didn't do your research, did you? Ugh.
Because it's a movie, man.
It's a documentary. Nobody knows who that guy is by sight. I guess he's wearing only Toxic Avenger merch and like his whole place is decked out, but I don't know. I've never seen the Toxic Avenger. I'd like to, but
It's like he's a Johnny Carson character just come to life. Like, really strange. I mean, they only have him in the documentary like twice because his interview is basically unusable. But
yeah, he's just like swearing about the corporate heads of Blockbuster.
But I mean, when you get down to it, the story that is being told about Blockbuster and the corporate failings and like the rise and fall of a huge industry is really well told in this doc and bolstered really well by all the interviews that we just mentioned.
Yeah, I was really fascinated by the revelation, at least to me, that Blockbuster was actually doing it pretty good, like on the same level as Netflix for the time. And then, 2008 happened, and that's when, the timeline split off. So there's a different timeline where we are watching everything on Blockbuster Plus. And you know what? I think I'd like to live in that one.
I was gonna say, I would be all about, like, whatever they would call it, Blockbuster Instant. I'd love it.
It's Blockbuster Now, isn't it? I think was its branding back then.
Yeah, I know sometimes people still find, like, old smart TV remotes with a Blockbuster Now button on it. It's like, oh my god, right next to the Netflix button. It's insane.
And, I mean, the documentary is very clear about the fact that they were actually doing better than Netflix. They were ahead of the game on Netflix's streaming video. That Netflix was mostly a threat to them as a mailing disc company, And so I think that's really, really interesting. The idea that they were ahead on the streaming game. Like, not only was Blockbuster holding its own against Netflix as a disc company, but that it was ahead of them on the thing that Netflix became the first to do, essentially.
Truly what could have been. There's that interesting, like, Muppet sequence where they explain what happened in, like, the boardroom between Netflix and Blockbuster and how they kind of, like, laughed Netflix out of the room.
The famous Blockbuster had a shot at buying Netflix story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, God, told in puppetry, but I mean, I guess I didn't mind.
With Doug Benson doing all the characters.
Yeah. But yeah, God, such a different world that could have been. Because they really thought they were just going to, like, kind of squash him, right? Like, that was their whole point of, like, we don't need to, like, humor Netflix as if they're going to, like, really put us out. And now we're all just, like, planning our own trips to Bend, Oregon to like, do a pilgrimage.
Well, here's the thing that I kind of took away from this documentary is that, like, sure, that is a fascinating story about Blockbuster could have bought Netflix, but the way that the documentary frames it is there were so many outside factors that impacted the fall of Blockbuster that if Netflix hadn't been around, if Netflix had been acquired by Blockbuster, that somebody else probably would have stepped up and filled that void.
Crackle.
This is the Crackle timeline.
I mean, I'm thinking more along the lines of it would be a Hulu or an Amazon Instant Video being the dominant streaming platform.
No, I want to live in the Crackle timeline. The one where Crackle originals are up for Emmys.
Into the Crackleverse? Terrible.
So yeah, I really think this is a strong, entertaining documentary. It does really make me want to go to Bend and check out Last Blockbuster. I really grew an affinity for the folks that are there running it and just, like, running a business just like anybody else.
Wouldn't the dream be to actually be able to say the words broadcasting live from the Last Blockbuster?
Oh, man.
Honestly, that could be a pretty good pod. If If you guys over at the Last Blockbuster want to give us some free nights at your Airbnb, we would gladly come up there.
Yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, the Last Blockbuster is an Airbnb now.
Which, talk about the best Airbnb option of all time. I mean, I don't know what you're really doing in Bend, Oregon, besides going to that Blockbuster, but now you don't have to leave.
I mean, it looked like a really nice place to me. Like, it looked gorgeous.
Oh yeah, Sammy and the gang. They're like keeping that place pristine. It's wonderful.
Sandy.
Oh, it's Sandy? I thought it was Sammy.
Let me double check because I don't want to be the jerk that corrected you.
It's Sandy.
Is it? Oh, well, now I'm the jerk who said her name wrong because she is so damn nice.
So real quick, we're all in like early 20s, right?
Yeah.
I think we might be like the cutoff, like the last generation that even kind of remembers what a video store was, or like was actually physically in one.
Yeah.
I still, to this day, whenever I'm back in Chicago and I'll pass my old Blockbuster that's been a hot yoga studio for like 10 years now, and I'll just like shed a single tear as I walk by. So many good times there. Ugh.
Shout out to Mega Media in Milwaukee for keeping the spirit alive.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Ricardo, that there are still some like independently owned used media stores hanging on that can give you that same kind of fix if you don't, want to make the pilgrimage all the way to Bend, Oregon. And for those of you in the Milwaukee area, big shout out to Mega Media Exchange. It's got 3 locations around the city?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
And I mean, like, there are similar places all over the country. I mean, Half Price Books even kind of gives you that little bit of that feeling, not exactly the same.
Yeah, sure. I think they even touched on it in the documentary. It might have been Kevin Smith who said it, but he was like, there's like almost like a resurgence as like the vinyl collecting community kind of like kept independent record stores going, and that there could be that like draw for those independent movie stores, just like there would be to like actually go to a Blockbuster. And it really does give you a little bit of that like satisfaction of just like walking the aisles and looking at covers.
That's what I really loved about going to Mega Media. It became just like a thing to do, just going through the different aisles, because there was always something different, because things would come in and things would leave. So yeah, it was a communal space even in other like video stores.
Yeah, I've definitely been there with both of you.
Oh yeah,
it's a great time.
Weirdly enough, it's also a smoke shop now for some reason. But
wait, what?
Oh, Mega Media is?
Yeah, they just selling like bongs and CBD, and like it's just like up at the front counter
next to the movies.
Well, they gotta keep afloat, I guess.
Yeah, it's like there's like a case of like Game Boy games and DS styluses, and then right next to it is a case of like glass bongs and like lighters and stuff. It was weird. I mean, it's a very recent update, but
what the? Huh?
So Ron Funches bought Mega Media Exchange, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Oh, that was a good bit. Yeah.
Is Mega Media my favorite store now? Like my favorite company?
You a big CBD man?
Well, give it a couple years.
Oh, Mega Media, big shout out.
So yeah, support your local video store and be kind, rewind.
Did you guys catch that that's the very last part of the credits is just be kind, rewind. It's just a little tip at the end.
Yep.
I liked that a lot.
Mm-hmm. I caught that too. Really sweet.
Go watch that movie.
Yes. Big shout out, big recommend.
Be kind, rewind.
Oh, you mean the Jack Black one. Sure.
I was about to say, damn, Garrett, okay, I guess you like Be Kind, Rewind.
Yeah, big turnaround on Be Kind, Rewind.
Never seen it. So yeah, let's move into our pop culture reference of the episode.
Wait, hold real quick, just for kind of a wrap up. What are your guys' feeling towards like physical media? I think we're all kind of on the same page where we really like it, because I only bring this up because my room currently, I have a bunch of DVDs that I've collected over the years, and I've been slowly moving a lot of them into my room, out of the basement. So when you walk into my room, it's like 2013 again, because it's all DVDs. I play them on an old PS3. because the PS4 is being used in the living room. So the one I have personally for my room is the PS3. So my room's become like a little time capsule.
The nostalgia setup, man. I love that. But yeah, physical media, it's great. They kind of even touched on it in the movie of just like holding it in your hands, the weight of it, like physically like turning it and like reading the details on the back. It feels good. There's something about it. And I know, Ricardo, you have a couple of like Stranger Things box sets that are like modeled after old VHS tapes. I don't know if that's one or both of them, but there's something to that, like modeling new stuff after really solid physical things like a VHS tape. I'm all about.
Now, on the same wavelength as that, I cannot stand the Walmart $5 Blu-rays that look like videotapes, but like don't commit to actually making it the size and shape of a video cassette. And so it's just like a Blu-ray case with the image of the Blu-ray or of the VHS cover with the videotape like sliding half out to make it the right dimension to be a Blu-ray case.
That's kind of whack.
I don't like that. I think there is definitely a charm, especially to the Stranger Things ones, because that is in line with, the vibe of Stranger Things. But for me, I mean, physical media is all about the joy of feeling an ownership over a piece of art that you care for. And that you're like, I can watch this anytime. It's almost like marking up a book. It's like, this is my copy of whatever,
Oh, totally. And just the threat of streaming to like shuffle around your favorite stuff. You suddenly don't have access to, or like have half access to something you love. It's always good to just have that in your back pocket. I need to buy a Frasier box set for sure.
Especially because Amazon is trying to argue now, we've talked about this on the show before, that even if you buy a movie through Amazon, you're not technically an owner, you're just licensing the right to watch it whenever you want through Amazon Instant Streaming, and that they could technically take it away from you at any time.
Yeah, I don't like that kind of threat behind it. It's better to have it in your hands, physical piece of media.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think. So I obviously am a big proponent.
So that means it's time to start doomsday prepping. When the internet bubble pops, I'm still going to be able to watch Shrek 2. Are you?
Oh, hell yeah. That's a good piece of advice. That's like a whole angle in 10 Cloverfield Lane. He's got a bunch of like John Hughes VHS tapes. It's perfect.
I really, since the pandemic started, I have literally bought a copy of Shrek 2 on Blu-ray.
That's a good Blu-ray to have, though. That movie's dope.
All right, let's move on to our pop culture reference, which is kind of more of the same as the conversation we've already been having. For today's pop culture reference, we're going to be just talking about the history of Blockbuster Video. Now, obviously, this is a very brief overview, and we highly encourage that if you're interested in learning more about Blockbuster Video and its remnants, to go check out our main segment of the day, The Last Blockbuster, which is now streaming on Netflix. So basically, Blockbuster was the biggest video store chain in the world, peaking at around 9,000 stores. It was estimated that a new Blockbuster was opened at one point every 17 hours. And so it's pretty amazing to see that through a combination of bad decisions from the top down from business and underestimation of their competitors and the 2008 stock market crash leading to all of their debts essentially being called in, led to this titan, the head of this industry, falling in under a decade.
Yeah, I have pretty clear memories still of like the great collapse of Blockbuster, like the big fire sales of like everything must go, everything is $1 or whatever. still saddens me a little bit considering how much time I spent there and how much I'm sure you both spent there. But
Hey, but I got the first 3 seasons of Monk on DVD for like $5, so
hell yeah. Oh god, I got the first Cloverfield on DVD there. That sparked my obsession. It's great.
oh, so this is an origin story for you, Seamus.
Oh, 100% yes. And but yeah, you know, like basically the crux of what I'm saying is like it really did almost happen overnight, just like big shutdowns, mass closings.
See, I think this is one of our shallower pop culture references, partially because Blockbuster was such a titan that I think even people that are younger than us and don't really remember it being open have an awareness of what it is. And also because I really do want to encourage people to go dive deep and watch this doc on Netflix, because I think it's a really interesting story and one that will help keep afloat the Last Blockbuster up in Bend as this huge tourist attraction.
Yeah, that's weird in and of itself, because there is this odd mystique about it just being the last blockbuster in existence. Just something about that sentence just draws you to it.
Yeah, God, very true. They're like selling back nostalgia in such like a concentrated way at that Blockbuster. I think that, you know, with this documentary and the popularity that it hopefully gets, that Blockbuster will be in existence long after we are dead. Hopefully. Pop quiz.
Pop them quizzes.
All you girls, pop your quizzes like this.
Oh my god.
So, here's a shock, guys. Last week, Ricardo beat Seamus.
Yeah. And then I won the game, too.
Man, I have a feeling about this week, and I know I say that often, but you give me a chance, coach. I'll prove them all wrong.
Ricardo is ahead 9-6. I know, Seamus, you're itching for that comeback streak. Is it going to be your time to shine? It's your time. It's your turn to pick the category. So, here are your options: The Suicide Squad or Resident Evil.
Oh, I'm picking Resident Evil on this one. And if God help me if I get it wrong, I've just not too long ago played every single game. So I really hope I don't screw this one up.
You guys know how this game works, but for those of you playing along at home, the first one of you to give me the correct answer gets the point. If you say it at the exact same time, or neither of you are able to get it, we move on to our other category as a tiebreaker. But here we go with Resident Evil. Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City is set to reboot the Resident Evil film series and put focus on the narrative of the games. How many theatrically released Resident Evil films were released as part of the original franchise?
6.
7.
Seamus got it.
No.
It was 6. Seamus, for extra credit, can you name them?
Alright, we got Resident Evil. We got Resident Evil Apocalypse. We got Resident Evil Extinction. There's Resident Evil The Final Chapter. That's somewhere down the line. I don't even know if that was the last one. There's like Resident Evil 3D. There's Resident Evil Abomination. Oh, I'm losing it. I'm losing them. I only know a handful.
Okay, here are the 6 in order. You got 4 of them, so I'm honestly pretty impressed. The original Resident Evil, Resident Evil Apocalypse, Resident Evil Extinction, Resident Evil Afterlife, Resident Evil Retribution, and then Resident Evil The Final Chapter.
And then there's 3 actually pretty decent animated feature movies that aren't canon in that universe, but I think are canon in the game universe that don't get enough love.
Well, that's why I I was very careful to say theatrically released.
Yeah, here we go. This is the start of the comeback streak, boys. I will finally overtake Ricardo, and I will win Garrett's hand in marriage. I will do that for you. The stakes have been risen.
Is that meaning that the PS5 and the house are part of the dowry? Is that what's going on here?
These are all included.
Yeah, it's like kind of it's everything together. It's part of the assets of the Strother family estate.
Okay, let's move on. Now it's time for Howling Commandos, where we break down the latest episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier exclusively on Disney+. As always with our Marvel shows, we're just marking spoilers right off the bat, so if you haven't seen this episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, go check that out, then come back here. We're talking episode 2.
Who's strong and brave, here to save the American way?
I knew you were going to sing that.
I'm so glad it's got the comeback on that song. And the marching band cover, so good. I hope they put that on Spotify like Agatha.
Hell yeah. Oh man, there's so many things about this episode. Like, this was packed with stuff for me that honestly surprised me in a lot of ways. Starting off with, I don't particularly despise Wyatt Russell, which is a surprise to me. He's like kind of an endearing guy. They're gonna pull the rug out from under us soon. I know that much. But right now, he seems like he's like kind of okay for the job almost.
I know. I'm shocked.
If Marvel Television has taught me anything, it's trust no one.
Especially the person who you have the most affinity for going in, the character actor who you're the most attached to.
Exactly. Oh man, yeah, he's something's gonna happen with him. It's gonna be like I always mixed up the new Captain America with who's the guy with the flag tattoo on his face from like Daredevil?
Oh yeah. Nuke, I think his name was.
Nuke, yeah, where he takes the red, white, and blue pills and like tweaks out. I always assumed it was gonna be more something like that, but Wyatt Russell's like he's just an all-American chap. He's just doing good stuff for everybody.
He's got a black Bucky, Battlestar.
Yeah.
Yeah, Battlestar. Why did that piss off Bucky so much when he said Battlestar?
I think it's partially the fact that it's that's the silly thing about the MCU is that everybody's like, nah, but you gotta tell me your superhero name. But they just sound ridiculous. And so I think it's partially that, and I think it's partially the idea that it's definitely invoking, like the Captain America brand of like Battlestar, And I mean, I think it was really smart to right off the bat start us off with learning more about John Walker and his whole backstory and making us realize that he is just a guy trying to fill these shoes and not some kind of brainwashed, hyper-national. I mean, like, to an extent, I guess, but...
Oh, now he is.
But yeah, I think this definitely could have been part of the pilot, I feel like. I feel like this in the first episode, kind of like WandaVision, could have been a little bit condensed down. But I do appreciate that we are giving a lot of these characters room to breathe that we might not have gotten in most other shows.
Yeah, Sam and Bucky actually talk to each other in this one. They're in the same room now.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, they've got their classic, kind of tense banter going back and forth.
The return of super unhealthy and poorly portrayed therapy, that's back in this episode.
Yeah. God. Yeah, I thought we were maybe going to get somewhere a little bit with that, but I'm sure the last episode of this series is just going to be like back in the therapy room again, and it's going to be all okay.
Well, I did kind of wonder if, I don't know, I think that there is definitely something to the fact that he's seeing a military therapist, which, and it doesn't even sound like a therapist who specializes in PTSD or anything like that, but literally a therapist who is in the military. And so I feel like maybe it's intentional that this isn't exactly the best help that Bucky needs, especially because they call out specifically that she and Wyatt Russell have done ops together in the past.
That's very true. They keep touching on the importance of his time in Wakanda. They bring up the White Wolf title also in this episode again, and just kind of referencing how the time apart to heal his own mind a little bit was what he needed, and now he's back to being hammered in the head by this military therapist, and he just wants to cool out, I guess he really quickly volunteers to go to Germany with Sam, but in general he's still trying to make amends this episode and I don't know, try to stay out of some pretty bad stuff, even though I guess he's inevitably sucked in because of the super soldier angle.
and he goes very willingly when he gets arrested, and especially it's really cute when they put those handcuffs on him, like that's gonna do anything at all.
Yeah. Man jumped from an airplane and was fine.
But let's talk. I want to talk about that sequence specifically, which was definitely my favorite part of this episode. The whole going to visit Isaiah, who is a super soldier who was from the Korean War, so really like less than a decade after Captain America, and obviously the US government even back in the 50s was able to replicate some kind of super soldier serum, and then sent him to prison, it seems, so like to be experimented on. I'm very curious to find out about his backstory. Was he like experimented on during World War II in a Hydra facility similar to Bucky? Did something else happen with him? Like, why is he a super soldier, and why weren't there super soldiers after the Korean War? Or were there and we didn't know? But I really liked that.
I don't know a whole lot about his backstory, but I'm sure they'll change parts of it. But from what I recall from the comics, he was it's based on real life history where the United States government would experiment on black people because they could, and Isaiah was supposed to be their attempt to try to recreate the super soldier serum, because again Stanley Tucci got shot and he was the only one that knew how to do it. From what it looks like in here, it looks like they took like a soldier who they thought they could do that with, and again, racism, so they thought they could do whatever they wanted and no one would really care. They just kind of experimented on him until they got the results they wanted, sort of a replicating or a reverse engineering, trying to reverse engineer the super soldier serum.
Yeah, but that's what I'm curious about. If they were able to successfully do it with Isaiah, like why? Like I want to know the backstory there about why they haven't been able to replicate it. And then of course, after we leave Isaiah's place, learning very...
Oh wait, that reminds me of something. Civil War, they didn't they? Because there was a bunch of them in the Frozen...
Yeah, but those were all like specifically Winter Soldiers, like the Hydra boys...
Oh, those were all Hydra. Gotcha.
Yeah, like failed attempts when they went like crazy.
It was the Winter Soldier boy band.
Yeah.
And then we get Sam getting racially profiled right outside Isaiah's house.
God, that just like even like you can see the cop car roll up out of focus in the background before the lights come on, and that just made my stomach sink, man, because I knew it was coming. And they like tease it out a little bit at the bank in the first episode, and you were kind of saying before that this show is definitely going to explore like the specifically being a black Avenger and how they treat him. Like this is the second time where we've seen somebody like treat him like crap and then find out he's an Avenger and be like, oh, what's up, Sam Wilson, like you're the best. And it just sucks so bad.
Yeah, it's very clearly not only like a racial thing, but also being an Avenger clearly is a metaphor for coming home from the military.
100% yes.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. And I'm also, but also on the reverse side of that, you have, when they first get to that neighborhood, you have some kids who are like, hey, you're the Black Falcon. And he's like, no, I'm just Falcon. But it's like, and the joke is like, it's like Black Panther. But the way that, as a Black Avenger, like there is this double standard that he comes across in public all the time, and they've shown us multiple times. But also the representation that garners. Like, and he's not Black Panther from Wakanda. He is Sam Wilson, all-American boy, serving in the military, a Black Avenger.
That's an issue with just comic books in general. There's Black Lightning, the Lawrence Fishburne character that I don't remember from Ant-Man. Yeah, that's a recurring thing with comics, where they just throw black in front of their name.
Yeah. And that's the thing about Black Panther is at least it's like named after something, and like makes some kind of in-universe sense.
That whole interaction with the kid reminded me of that old Key and Peele sketch with the Power Rangers.
I was gonna say, yeah, the Power Falcons or whatever. I almost thought that was just like a straight up reference at first, but then he like kind of like weakly schools this kid and with a joke that's not that good. I got him. He like fist bumps the friend. It's like, no, you didn't, Sam Wilson. Whatever.
He did though.
No, he didn't. He did not.
He got him, mate. He bloody got him.
He did not.
Yeah, Sam Wilson is a character that is like, he is emblematic in a lot of ways of a lot of the problems I have with Marvel writing, where he is so much less funny than he thinks he is.
A wizard is just a sorcerer without a hat or whatever. It's like, yeah, all right, sure.
Is he wrong though?
Is he? I don't know. I lightly chuckled, but you know.
Well, I actually really, really liked Bucky being like, yeah, I read The Hobbit when it came out in 1937. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, that was good. That was really good. Or the big three: androids, aliens, or what was the third one?
Sorcerers.
Wizards.
Or wizards, whatever, you know.
Sorcerers, of course, yeah.
Which Doctor Strange is a wizard. There's no way around that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, they're kind of they're like half acknowledging how silly all of it is, but like not just like everything else in Marvel, they're like half acknowledging that there's something there, but then not fully committing either way.
Because I mean, they're bringing up the concept of the big three, but then this entire show is literally about like rogue super soldier terrorist organization, like that does not fit into any of the three categories at all, much like most like Captain America movies.
Yeah, let's talk about the super soldiers though, the flag smashers, because we've got the girl from Solo playing the same role she played in Solo.
Oh, that's where I know her from. I was like, who is this woman? I know her from something, but
we've got a band of young people who are the villains, but you know, guess what? They're not really the villains. They're young people trying to do the right thing, and the heroes are going to learn a valuable lesson about, you know.
I mean, they're still terrorists.
Wait, yeah, is this a bit? They're straight up not good. They're like aren't they like, we want things to be like they were when half the world was dead?
Yes, but it just like in Solo, boys, it's the fact, I mean, they have an oversimplified goal, but when you actually hear them talk about it, they're talking about the fact that corrupt officials were just put back into power when they unblipped, and that a lot of the people that's lives were changed during the snap were just cast aside to make sure that they could accommodate those coming back into the world. And you have all of these, because they talk about all these displaced refugee camps.
That sounds like it's going to be like a theme going forward, because isn't that the same issue Hayward had in WandaVision? Because there's tension between post-blip and pre-blip people.
Exactly. Exactly, that's what I'm talking about, is that there is this, like who are in these displaced camps? Is it exclusively people that, like, came back and didn't have homes, or is it people that were, like, kicked out of where they were living so that the people who came back could be there? And also, where are these super soldiers from? Were they weapons of if they're anti-nationalist, then were they Captains America of other countries? Were they super soldiers meant for hypernational causes that are now breaking free and only they were trying to, they were stealing vaccines, yes, but they were also trying to distribute them to people in refugee camps?
I really like that idea, just the idea it's a group of other national super soldiers. We could get some Captain Britain in there.
But that's the thing, I think the idea is, but that if they've shirked those identities, I'm not saying they're literally Captain Britain or whatever, but like if they are super soldiers who were like nationalistic military groups that then shirked those identities for like the common good, that's a really big gray area. And I know we obviously are bringing in, you know, Baron Zemo and Hydra, which could be a much more black and white villain that maybe our boys can team up with the Flag Smashers against at the end of the series.
Yeah, they tease it at the end of this episode. We're going to get Hannibal Lecter Zemo.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. There's also one thing with the Flag Smashers that they tease out, is that somebody is specifically after.
That's right. Yeah.
Solo lady, like texting her threats, like I'm gonna kill you, is what it says. So not only is there like some political opposition to these like activist, terrorists, whatever, but like there is some personal stuff in the hierarchy, and I guess I just assumed that was gonna be connected to Zemo, but I guess he's still snug in his weird cube cell, so we'll see how that plays out.
I'm still thinking about Zemo because I think they really did a good job of building that up with the camera angles and the dramatic music, and knowing he's gonna finally wear the purple outfit. I don't know, it's exciting to me. Just have we talked about how Zemo might be one of the pettiest villains in comics?
Yeah, I think we talked about that a little bit last week, and how it'll be interesting to see, because the Zemo in Civil War bears such little resemblance to what Baron Zemo is in the comics, that I'm really hoping that they actually just kind of like the themes I was talking about, do justice to what that character's kind of deal is, like, from the source material.
Yeah, they made his weird his king fur thing. They made that work. They put it on his coat.
Yeah, I'm loving the costume design. I'm very much looking forward to, in a couple episodes from now, when we get like a suit up sequence with him, like an evil suit up sequence.
Oh, also, real quick before we wrap up, I want to talk about how the entire truck chase with the vaccine was like, hey, you guys know about Indiana Jones, right?
Yeah. I was channeling every single action movie that does, like, on top of the train, on top of a truck, on top of a boat or whatever, you know, just like vehicle top fist fight.
Yeah. I mean, I was not impressed with that action sequence in general, but because it's got that Marvel problem of it's just like it's got a lot of shaky cam and fast cutting, and it's just like, yep, this is technically action.
Though I will say, in that action sequence, it gave me even, you know, a stronger feeling of like, yeah, maybe Wyatt Russell isn't so bad. He like actually did help out in like in a way that wasn't like as arrogant as I was expecting.
Oh yeah, he's very like interested in actually having their help, at least it seems.
This man is a time bomb, man.
Oh, true. I'm gonna be sad when the big reveal happens.
Don't forget how we left him. Stay out of my way.
But yeah, but like they're being jerks to him, you know? They're like, you suck.
And not that it's unfounded, but I also think like he is a pawn in a larger political maneuver that he is not in control of, and they're taking all of that aggression out specifically on him instead of like the organization that actually decided, you know what, we don't need a black Captain America, we need Wyatt Russell, and they need to fix his helmet. I mean, I know that's part of the point, is that it's ill-fitting, but like, Wyatt Russell is a handsome guy. He's an odd-looking guy, but he's a handsome guy, but in that helmet he does just look like a dope.
Yeah, truly.
Nah, man. I want Goober, whatever, CS agent, a US agent. Just make him look sillier.
TS agent is funnier.
That's when they bring in the Jordan Peele movies, is we get TS agent.
There it is. Oh, hell yeah. And that's where Black Falcon comes in. Perfect.
That better be where he gets demoted to at the end of this. He becomes TS agent.
Oh, you think he's surviving this? I don't know, man.
Oh yeah, he's okay, you ever fell on a grenade? Guys, come on. Literally, they're setting this character up for I die for the cause at the end of this series to help out my boys.
There's a Dark Avengers theory that's been rolling around out there that I think would be kind of cool.
That would be cool, yeah.
White Vision meets Wyatt Russell confirmed. The weirdest conversation between an android and a helmet full of ears. That's mean. Wyatt Russell does not deserve that.
I think before we get off onto any more speculation tangents, I think we've run the course for actual content of this episode. All right, let's save the rec center. Now it's time to Save the Rec Center, where we give you our weekly recommendations. And boys, I'm sorry if I'm going to completely derail what you already have thought out for your rec center, but I want to try something a little different if you're game.
Oh, lay it on us.
Okay, this is PCR staff picks. You get you get 2 videotapes to put on your Blockbuster Staff Picks shelf.
Oh, just any 2 that we can think of that would be on VHS?
I think so. I think that's what we do. I'll give you guys we can just take a second to think.
Okay, so they gotta be VHS tapes. Got it.
Oh, I've got a stupid one in my head that I don't want to be representative of me.
Why not, Shane?
I mean, maybe I'll throw it up there. I gotta see if I can come up with anything better.
All right. Can you guys think while I do mine? I wanted to give you a minute to process, but let me jump in here. For my staff picks on my Blockbuster shelf, these are coming from VHS tapes that I watched a lot as a kid, and I'm not going maybe with my most watched ones, but I'm going with ones that I think would be fun to have on my staff pick shelf, because I literally wore out my Star Wars videotape, but I had a TV with a VCR built in my room when I was a young boy, and I had a shoe cubby holder cabinet thing where they were the perfect size to slide in videotapes. So I could fit the cardboard sleeve videotapes into those holes. I could fit 4 of them in each slot. So you would have the Indiana Joneses plus the Indiana Jones bonus material or whatever. So 2 of my most watched videotapes from that era of my life were Pee-wee's Big Adventure and Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Wow, those are great choices. Oh my god.
And I literally do not think I have seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure since I watched it on videotape 1,000,000 times.
I definitely have seen it not too long ago. It holds up. It is hilarious. It is so funny.
Oh, I could recite it for you, for sure, but,
Large Marge just, plaguing your nightmares. Ugh, truly the most horrific moment of a movie I was not expecting.
Both those movies, I didn't even think about that, have seemingly kid-friendly tones, or with really dark undercurrents.
Yeah, they really do. Jeez. All right, well, I've got my staff picks. This is also kind of the exact same reasoning behind your first one, Garrett, of I had that little TV with the built-in VHS player, and I had a little stack of tapes that I would play over and over, and for some reason I watched Austin Powers 3 1,000 times on VHS.
I'm not kidding, Seamus, that was almost my pick. I'm not kidding.
Yes! We lived the same life, Garrett, I swear to God.
Why do we all have the same memories attached to Austin Powers 3? Because for the longest time, I would watch that one a lot, but I had never seen the other 2.
That's so good, though. That's so funny. Oh, man. That movie was, not even that old. I feel like DVDs were a thing when Austin Powers 3 came out, but I watched it so much, and it will make me laugh out loud to this day. I'm even just thinking of that movie's so stupid, but that intro with Tom Cruise and Danny DeVito, it's so funny.
Oh, 100%, yeah. And I mean the Kevin Spacey one works even better now, if you really...
Oh, Jesus Christ, yeah, no kidding. Spielberg is there. Oh god, classic. And then my second one is actually that stupid one I was talking about. I think it was the last VHS tape I ever got from Blockbuster. Brand new, shrink wrapped in the clamshell. It was Inspector Gadget 2.
Yes, dude. Yes.
And where, oh my god, no Matthew Broderick to be seen. It's all French, right?
French Stewart, baby.
French Stewart? Oh, it's the best. They're trying to rob Fort Knox. There's the time stopping button deal with the McDonald's product placement. It's classic.
Oh, it is classic. It's so bad. Oh man.
Yeah, it's horror. It's the worst. But yeah, my 2 staff picks are 2 different sequels of absolute insanity, but they're classic, specifically on VHS.
the worst in their franchises, respectively.
Yeah, exactly. Ricardo, what about you? What do you got for staff pick?
I'm gonna go with Batman '89, just because that specific VHS tape has a special place in my heart, because I would just check that bad boy out from the library all the time. Every time I went there, I would pick that one up, and I think I want to say that's probably where I experienced Batman for the first time.
It's a good place to start.
An obsession was born.
Was that the VHS that was literally all black and just the yellow?
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Hell yeah, dude. I had that one too.
So yeah, that's always going to have a special place in my heart. My other pick is going to be my VHS copy of The Mask.
Yeah!
Oh, no.
How did I forget about the VHS copies of The Mask? That's insane. Oh, God. I picked Inspector Gadget 2? Jesus.
Anyone that doesn't know us personally doesn't know that me and Seamus have had a long recurring gag where we both own VHS copies of The Mask.
And, I mean, I don't own a VHS player at the moment. I just have it as a relic. It's just like a piece I want on the shelf.
It's a weird art project dream of mine that I want to get a bunch of VHS copies of The Mask together and make like a wall out of them.
Like a mosaic of giant white teeth.
I could do it too because I go to a lot of garage sales and guaranteed there's always going to be a copy of The Mask there.
Just like a Andy Warhol-esque comment on how worthless videotapes are now.
Oh, the irony of having the best movie of all time on such an outdated medium.
Right next to that 2-tape Titanic set.
Oh yes, I own that for sure. Oh man. Well, Garrett, good new little segment for our Blockbuster episode. I really liked the staff pick. This was a good VHS memory lane here.
Maybe we can come up with some kind of excuse to do it again sometime, because I think it's got a different charm, a different feel to it. And I was really excited because I could hear the passion at both of your picks.
Oh, there's something about it, that scrambly VHS tape, man.
Okay, I think that wraps us up for this week's episode of Pop Culture Reference. Next week we're actually going to be talking about Godzilla vs. Kong. Fingers crossed, unless they delay it another 5 days for some weird reason. But I mean, I'm really glad we got to cover this one. So, I mean, no harm, no foul, you know.
Hope I get refunded for that pay-per-view prices I paid for this Kong fight.
Oh, God.
If you want to reach the show, you can tweet us at PCR_podcast. Find us on Instagram at that same handle. You can email us at popculturereferencepod@gmail.com and like us on our Facebook page. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really enjoyed doing this episode. You know, I think it's the first doc we've done. Am I right about that?
Yeah, it is.
So, I mean, that was a thrill. So, be kind, rewind.
Starring Jack Black.
Adios, amigos.
We'll see you next week.